You want to change your life, really change it. But the truth is, you can't begin that transformation until you stop lying to yourself. That's the hardest part, isn't it? We get so good at wearing masks, putting up fronts, pretending everything is okay. We smile when we're broken, nod when we disagree, and say I'm fine when inside we're screaming for more. But change doesn't come to those who pretend. It comes to those who get brutally honest with the person in the mirror. You've told yourself that you're content, that this is enough, that you're doing okay. But deep down, in the silence between the noise, you know the truth. You know you're meant for more. You feel the weight of untapped potential, of dreams you've buried under fear, of talents you've neglected because it's easier to stay safe than to risk failing. You see, the most dangerous lies aren't the ones others tell you. They're the ones you tell yourself and believe. Maybe you've convinced yourself that you're too old, too young, too late, or too early. That other people get the chances, the breaks, the opportunities. Maybe you've decided the cards were stacked against you from the start, so why bother trying to change? But that voice inside you, the one that refuses to be silenced, isn't fooled. It knows you've been hiding, it knows you've been settling, and it's trying to wake you up. You'll never change your life until you change the way you see yourself. And you can't do that until you admit where you really are, not where you wish you were. You have to strip away the comfort of excuses. You have to call yourself out on the habits that are keeping you stuck. Are you blaming your past, your parents, your job, the economy, the algorithm? The world will always give you a reason to stay where you are. It's your job to give yourself a reason to move. Look around. How much of your life is a reflection of what you truly want versus what you've just learned to tolerate? That relationship you keep forcing, that job you dread, that routine that numbs you, you've normalized it because it's familiar. But don't confuse familiar with right. You're not stuck, you're just scared. Scared to admit that you're not happy. Scared to admit that you've been the one holding yourself back. Scared to let go of the identity you built around survival. But growth doesn't happen in denial, it happens in truth. It happens when you stop sugarcoating your reality and face it raw. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it might hurt. But nothing changes until you do. And to change, you have to stop looking outward and start looking inward. Stop comparing yourself to everyone else and start comparing yourself to the person you were yesterday. Did you grow? Did you take one step forward? Or did you let another day pass in autopilot? You can't rewrite your story while clinging to the same chapters. Some pages need to be burned. Some narratives need to be challenged. You're not just anything. You're not to anything. You are capable and you are responsible. And that means no one's going to walk into your life and hand you the version of yourself you dream about. You have to build it. And that building starts with a demolition. The destruction of every comforting lie you've told yourself to stay still. Take a moment. Ask yourself the hard questions. Are you living your truth, or are you performing a version of yourself for acceptance? Are you chasing your purpose, or are you chasing validation? Are your goals truly yours, or are they inherited dreams passed down from someone else's vision of success? Stop numbing yourself with distractions. The scrolling, the binging, the constant need for stimulation. It's not entertainment, it's avoidance. Avoidance of silence. Avoidance of truth. Because in silence the truth screams. And that truth will tell you things you might not want to hear, but you need to. You need to hear that you've wasted time. You need to hear that you've played small. You need to hear that you haven't given your best. Not to shame yourself, but to wake yourself up. There's a version of you on the other side of honesty that's stronger, freer, and more fulfilled than you've ever been. But to reach them, you have to first admit that you're not there yet. And that's okay. There's no shame in not having it all figured out. But there is danger in pretending that you do. Pretending keeps you stuck. Honesty sets you free. Think about how powerful it would be to strip away the image and finally admit, I don't love where I am. I'm tired of pretending I do. I want more, I need more, and I'm ready to do what it takes. That moment right there is the beginning of real change. That's the ignition switch for transformation. That's when the walls start to crack and the light starts to get in. You don't have to fix everything overnight. You don't need to leap 10 steps ahead. But you do need to stop lying to yourself about where you're starting. Own your flaws. Own your fears. Own your mistakes. They're not your identity. They're your instruction. They show you where to grow. They point to the places where you've been avoiding the work. Do the work. Not for anyone else, but because you owe it to the part of you that still believes you can become more than what you've settled for. And here's the truth that most people miss. Self-awareness is power. Not weakness, not guilt. Power. When you become aware of your patterns, your triggers, your limiting beliefs, you gain control. You shift from living in reaction to living in intention. And intentional living is where real change begins. Not from shame, but from ownership. So if you're ready, really ready, then you know what you have to do. Stop lying. Stop hiding. Stop acting like you don't know what needs to change. You do. You always have. Pain is not the enemy. It's the signal. The signpost. The moment when life stops whispering and starts screaming, begging you to wake up. It's easy to love life when everything goes your way, when the money flows, when the people support you, when you're celebrated. But that's not where character is forged. That's not where greatness is born. Pain is the birthplace of strength. Every broken piece of your heart, every betrayal, every failure that made you question your worth. It wasn't punishment. It was preparation. When you were crying alone, when no one picked up the phone, when you sat in silence wondering if you'd ever matter, that pain was teaching you something. Not to give up, not to be bitter, but to find something deeper. To find the fire that can only be lit when everything else has gone dark. The truth is, most people run from pain. They numb it, avoid it, distract themselves with meaningless pleasures and temporary escapes. But the ones who rise, the ones who transform, they lean in. They let the pain teach them, mold them, sharpen them. It's not about pretending the hurt didn't happen. It's about learning to build from it. You don't become strong in the moments of comfort. You don't grow when you're coddled. Growth is violent. Growth tears you apart before it rebuilds you stronger. Just like the gym. If the weight doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. Life works the same way. Every time you feel like you can't take another step but you take it anyway, you're building muscle. Not the kind people see, but the kind that holds you up when everything around you tries to pull you down. Think back to the worst days of your life. The heartbreak, the loss, the disappointments that made you question if you'd ever feel whole again. You survived them. You didn't think you would, but you did. And somewhere in that survival, you discovered a version of yourself that didn't exist before. That's the gift of pain. It introduces you to your power. Not the fake, surface-level confidence, but real, grounded, unshakable strength. The kind you earn by walking through fire. Nobody wants to suffer, but the ones who become legends? They understand that pain isn't there to destroy them. It's there to reveal them. When you've been through hell and you're still standing, you walk different. You speak different. You don't fold under pressure anymore because you've already been buried and clawed your way back. Pain gave you that. Pain gave you perspective. It stripped away the noise. It showed you who your real friends were. It taught you to rely on your own resilience. You learned to stop begging people to see your worth and started proving it to yourself. There's something sacred about hitting rock bottom. Not because it's a good place to be, but because there's clarity there. You stop lying to yourself, you stop pretending. When there's nowhere to go but up, you find out who you really are. And when you start to rise, when you start to rebuild from nothing, you become dangerous. Not in a violent way, but in a focused, disciplined, unshakable way. You become the kind of person that life can no longer break. Because you've already been broken, and you rebuilt yourself brick by brick. The pain didn't ruin you. It refined you. It made you more aware, more intentional, more grounded. It taught you what matters. It burned away the parts of you that were fake, weak, or dependent. Now you move with a different energy. You don't need validation from the outside world because the pain taught you to validate yourself. You don't chase empty success or hollow relationships because the pain showed you what depth really means. That's the kind of transformation pain can give you if you let it. But too many people waste it. They turn bitter. They wallow in self-pity. They think pain is a curse and they miss the lesson. Don't do that. Don't let the pain be for nothing. Let it be fuel. Let it be the reason you rise when others quit. Let it be the reason you stay disciplined when everything inside you wants to give up. Every time you show up despite the pain, you're proving to yourself that you're not a victim. You're a warrior in training. It doesn't happen overnight. Healing takes time. But while you're healing, you're growing. While you're hurting, you're learning. That pressure you feel, it's not there to crush you, it's there to mold you. Every scar has a story. Not of weakness, but of survival. Every tear has a purpose. Not to break you, but to cleanse you. To make room for what's coming next. There's no shortcut through pain. You can't skip the process. but you can trust it. Because if you stay the course, if you keep showing up, keep moving forward, keep believing, one day you'll look back and realize the pain didn't just make you stronger. It made you unstoppable. And not because you avoided the suffering, but because you endured it, embraced it, and allowed it to transform you from the inside out. That's the kind of power pain gives. The kind that can't be faked, borrowed, or bought. Only earned. You've been running from the pain for far too long. Every time it shows up, you find a way to suppress it, to ignore it, to numb it. But pain doesn't go away just because you pretend it's not there. It's persistent. It's patient. And it's powerful. Pain is not your enemy, it's your messenger. It's not here to break you, it's here to wake you. The truth is, most people don't change because they feel good. People change because they hit a wall. Because something inside them breaks, or finally shouts loud enough that they can't ignore it. That's what pain does. It doesn't show up in your life by accident. It's there to get your attention. You've ignored the signs. You've ignored the subtle hints. So now life sends pain, not to punish you, but to pull you out of your comfort and into your truth. Pain isn't chaos. It's clarity. It's the moment you realize you're tired of lying to yourself. It's the morning you wake up and can't stand the person looking back at you in the mirror. It's the night you cry alone because you're exhausted pretending you're okay. Pain is the honest friend most people push away. But the one friend that never lies to you. It doesn't sugarcoat. It doesn't care about your ego. It only wants one thing: for you to listen. You say you want to grow, you say you want to level up to become more. But growth doesn't happen without friction. Growth requires discomfort. Nothing extraordinary ever came from staying comfortable. Every breakthrough is born from breakdown. Every strong person you admire has a moment where they faced their pain head on and refused to back down. That's when they started becoming something more. Pain is the turning point. It's the line in the sand. Before it, you're sleepwalking through life, making excuses, blaming others, settling for less. But once it hits and you're finally ready to stop running, you get clarity. You get power. Pain strips away the noise. It brings your attention to what truly matters. It reveals what's been broken, what's been hidden, and what needs to be rebuilt. You don't need more motivation, you need more truth. And truth lives in the pain. That truth may hurt, but it will also set you free. You'll realize you've been chasing validation, seeking distractions, trying to fill voids with things that will never satisfy. But pain reminds you, there's no external fix for an internal problem. The healing, the change, the evolution, it starts from within. So what are you going to do when it shows up? Will you continue to run, to bury it under habits, addictions, and distractions? Or will you sit with it, face it, and ask the real questions? Why am I unhappy? Why am I unfulfilled? Why do I keep repeating the same cycles? Pain forces you to stop pointing fingers and start looking in the mirror. Not with judgment, but with honesty. Because it's not about blame, it's about ownership. Ownership of your life. Ownership of your choices. Ownership of your mindset. Pain shows you what's not working so you can do something different. It's a signal, not a sentence. But until you're ready to feel it, you won't be ready to change. And that's the hard part. Not everyone's ready. Some people would rather stay in familiar misery than face unfamiliar freedom. Some would rather carry silent pain for years than have one honest moment with themselves. But if you're still listening, if this is reaching you, then maybe you're one of the few who are ready. Not just ready to hear this, but ready to feel it, ready to stop hiding behind fake smiles and surface-level success, ready to confront the real battles inside, because that's where your breakthrough begins, in the raw, unfiltered truth, in the pain you've been avoiding. Every time you avoid the pain, you delay the process. You postpone your evolution. But the moment you embrace it, not with fear but with purpose, you step into your power. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the author of your transformation. And no, it won't be easy. Growth never is. But it will be worth it. You'll begin to see why you had to go through what you went through. You'll understand that the pain wasn't random. It was precise. It was necessary. It came to remove what no longer serves you and prepare you for what's next. So when that ache returns, that frustration boils, that sadness lingers, don't push it away. Don't silence it. Listen. Because underneath the pain is your potential. Underneath the struggle is your strength. And when you're finally ready to stop running, when you decide to turn toward the pain instead of away from it, you'll find the power that's been waiting for you all along. Growth does not occur in the comfortable, predictable corners of life. It happens in the places that challenge us, stretch us, and sometimes break us open. When we choose to step outside of what's familiar and easy, we enter a space where transformation becomes not only possible but inevitable. Discomfort in this context isn't something to avoid. It's a signpost, a teacher, and a gateway to the version of ourselves we've yet to discover. There's a reason why many people stay stuck in patterns they know aren't serving them. Comfort provides safety. It lulls us into routines and habits that feel secure, even when they limit our potential. The human brain is wired to seek familiarity, to conserve energy, and to avoid unnecessary risk. But the pursuit of personal excellence, fulfillment, and meaning demands something different. It requires a willingness to go to the edge, to stare into the unknown and move forward anyway. Discomfort is the environment where all true growth takes root. Consider a muscle being trained. It has to be broken down, torn slightly through resistance, and then rebuilt stronger. The same is true for character, discipline, and mindset. When we push through the friction of our limitations, we build endurance. When we lean into difficult conversations, we develop emotional intelligence. When we pursue goals that intimidate us, we uncover courage we didn't know we had. Facing discomfort often means doing things you don't want to do. Waking up earlier, saying no to temptations, holding yourself accountable. It means facing fear, rejection, uncertainty, and failure, not occasionally, but regularly. And it's in those moments of internal conflict, when your body or mind screams for escape, that you have the most profound opportunity to grow. If you can stay in the fire, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, without retreating, you'll emerge more capable than you were before. There's something powerful that happens when you realize that discomfort isn't your enemy. In fact, the more often you encounter it, the more you begin to welcome it, not because it's pleasant, but because you recognize what it signals: progress. You begin to reframe the narrative. Hard isn't bad. Fear doesn't mean stop. Failure doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're brave enough to try. That shift in perspective is one of the most liberating changes a person can experience. Many people wait for motivation before they act. But motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like weather. What lasts is the identity you forge through discipline, and discipline is built in the presence of resistance. If you can learn to take action regardless of how you feel, to move forward, even when you're tired, afraid, or overwhelmed, you begin to create a kind of momentum that cannot be easily stopped. When you embrace discomfort, you're not just enduring pain for its own sake. You're making a statement to yourself and to the world that you are willing to pay the price of transformation. You're saying, I value the person I'm becoming more than the comfort of where I am. That declaration alone separates those who evolve from those who remain stagnant. Sometimes the discomfort is subtle. It's the quiet ache of dissatisfaction in your current situation. It's the lingering doubt about whether you're living up to your potential. It's the moment you recognize that your habits are leading you somewhere you don't want to go. Other times it's loud. It's the rejection letter, the failed business, the heartbreak, the moment of crisis that forces you to confront everything you've been avoiding. In both cases, discomfort is a signal. It's telling you, pay attention. Something needs to change. The key is not to ignore that signal. Most people numb it. They scroll, drink, binge, distract. Anything to silence the voice that calls them toward growth. But if you can sit with it, listen to it, and let it guide you, discomfort becomes a compass. It points you toward what matters, toward where you're supposed to go next. This isn't a call to suffer needlessly. It's a call to face the resistance that comes with growth rather than run from it. It's a call to stop settling for mediocrity just because excellence is uncomfortable. There's no greatness without effort, no transformation without friction. If you're waiting for change to feel easy or natural, you'll be waiting forever. You will never feel completely ready for the next level of your life. That's not a flaw. It's a sign you're pushing beyond what you've done before. And the discomfort that comes with that is part of the price of admission. If you want to grow, you have to be willing to endure the awkward, the uncertain, the difficult. You have to be willing to look foolish, to make mistakes, to fail in public. You have to be willing to not know exactly how it's all going to turn out. When you embrace that reality,